thank you for being here. God is good. I was telling us men here, and the women can do it too, but we've done lock-ins and these videos like this for, you lock in with God for 3 days and watch you kind of be there. You'll laugh when you, you'll have, it's called mega joy. And praise the Lord. Let's go to the Lord prayer. Sister Diana, who is the prayer?
Bless us with your spirit and Father God, help us to receive the words in Jesus' name.
Open the eyes of the blind, and no one like you, none like you. Into the darkness inside, out of the ashes we rise, and no one like you, none like you. Our God is greater, our God is stronger, God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, awesome in power, our God. The darkness you shine, out of the ashes you rise. There's no one like you, none like you. healer, awesome in power, our God, our God. Our God is greater, our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, awesome in power, our God, our God. Our God is for us, then who could ever stop us? And if our God is with us, then what can stand against? And if our God is for us, then who could ever stop us? And if our God is with us, then what can stand against? Our God is greater, our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, awesome in power. Our God, our God.
He knows my name. Start us out, Sister Jesse.
He counts the stars, one and all. He knows our sins, he's on the shores. He sees every sparrow that falls. He made the mountains and the seas, in control of everything. The all creatures great and small. And he knows my name, every step that I take, every move that I make, every tear that I cry. And he knows my name when I'm overwhelmed by the pain. Can't see the light of day. I know I'll be just fine. He knows my name. I don't know what tomorrow will bring. I can't tell you what's in store. I don't know a lot of things. I don't have all the answers to the questions of life. But I know when to lie and believe. And he knows my name, every step that I take, every move that I make, every tear that I cry. And he knows my name when I'm overwhelmed by the pain. Can't see the light of day. I know I'll be just fine. He knows my name, every step that I take, every move that I make, every tear that I cry. And he knows my name when I'm overwhelmed by the pain. Can't see the light of day. I know I'll be just fine. He knows my name.
Yes. Did you hear me? And well, not all of our speakers showed up tonight, but praise the Lord, we got some here. And Brother Jonathan, how many appreciate Brother Jonathan? Come on, brother, and share what the Lord has laid on your heart. I'm looking forward to this. I tell you, Brother Keith, you remember the first time you spoke? Oh, yeah. You'll never forget it. Amen.
Hello?
How y'all doing tonight?
Good.
God's good, amen?
Amen.
All the time. Amen. There you go. All Jesus, it says right here, and the same day, when the even was come, he saith unto them, Let us pass over to the other side. And when they had sent away the multitude, they took him even as he was in the ship. And there was also with him other ships. And there arose a great storm of wind, and the waves beat into the ship, so that it was now full. And he was in the hinder part of the ship, asleep on a pillow. And they awake him, and say unto him, Master, carest thou not we perish? And he arose and rebuked the wind, and said unto the sea, Peace, be still. And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. And he said unto them, Why are ye so fearful? How is it that ye have no faith? And they feared exceedingly, and said to one another, What manner of man is this, that even the wind and sea obey him? Now this message that the Lord has laid on my heart came to me through a song, and I have a feeling that we all can relate to this story. We all have storms. We all have struggles through life. And whether it be financial crisis, whether it be death in the family, addiction of any sorts. And we all have struggles. We all can relate. And we all have our own storms that we need help with. And all the times, at times we may feel that the struggles, the storm will never end, the season will never end. And this is the time we need to seek Jesus, amen. We need to seek Him and His presence, and because He's the only one who can help us through our storm. Because we can do nothing on this earth can calm the storm with Jesus. And this message really spoke to my heart because a lot of people in this world that I see is they rely on a lot of materialistic things to really try to calm their storm. They rely on materialistic things, whether it be money, whether it be other people, which we can't really truly rely on people because we're not perfect. God's perfect. That's why we have to put our faith in Him and not on people. And it's people put their faith in materialistic things, and they always come up short because that you're never satisfied with things of the flesh or things that are materialistic. So that's why in our storms, it's always when we're going through struggle, we need to seek the Lord, we need to seek His presence, and to trust in Him more than the things of this world. And I see a lot of people struggle with that nowadays, and it's sad, honestly. And other verse that this message that brought my attention was in Psalms chapter 18, verse 2. It says, The Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer, my God, my strength, in whom I will trust, my buckler and the horn of my salvation and my high tower. And it goes to show just that the Lord is our deliverer, our fortress through our storm, through our struggles, and our rock, the rock of our foundation, we have to have a strong foundation through life. We have to, build from something, and God is the best thing we can build from. Amen. And that's why it's always important to trust in the Lord above all things, above everything else. And one more verse actually came to mind that Psalms 27:1. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life, and of whom shall I be afraid? No matter what comes our way, no matter what steps in front of us, no matter what obstacle we go through, we can rely on the Lord to fight our battles for us. Because the Word says, if God is for us, who can be against us? It's very, very important that we just look to the Lord and we seek His presence, and we glorify His name above all else. Because we also come to the realization that we need to, I've also heard this, I don't think I've ever heard it saying, but, when we pray, we always tell God how big our problems are. We need to tell our problems how big our God is. And that's what I try to do. At times I struggle at times. We all struggle. We all have our struggles. We all have our own storms we need to go through, but above all else, we need to learn to seek the Lord and His presence.
Amen.
Good work. Good job, Brother John.
Thanks, bro. Oh, is that all? Okay. I didn't even have that. Okay.
No.
Oh,
That was all you, brother.
all right.
Think about this. Jesus said, why are you so fearful? Has anybody ever got fearful? Let's be honest. Relax. Storms come. Might not be a physical storm, but it's a spiritual storm. And we all get fearful.
Yeah.
If I said I didn't, I'd be lying to you. But for the most part, I'll always try to have joy. And I've had joy in the midst of storms. But sometimes these storms will take away your joy and your peace. And just rob you. But praise God. But Jesus, when Jesus speaks to the storm, it's got to stop.
Amen.
We'll say that again. When Jesus speaks to the storm, it's got to stop. Good word, Brother Jonathan. Give him another hand. Brother Keith. There's only one Brother Keith. Praise God. I love this. I appreciate this brother here. Praise the Lord. Amen.
Brother Jonathan trying to steal my role up here. God's good.
All the time.
Amen.
No, you did good, brother. Proud of you, man. Proud of you. Look, a lot of people laugh at me. You know, I wear glasses, and then when I get ready to read, I take them off.
Amen, brother.
And they say, how come you take your glasses off and read? I said, because I can't see the word from my glasses.
Amen. Amen, brother. I got your back there, buddy.
But, man, who's joyful tonight?
Amen.
What? Come on, guys. I said, who's joyful tonight? Look, we may be a handful of people here tonight, but you know what? We can get this as loud as the world can get.
Yeah.
The world is out there doing their thing. Let's get in here and do our thing inside the house of God. We can have joy too. We can have greater joy.
Yeah.
Woo! Come on, somebody.
Out here. Out here.
Look here. Woo! There we go. Look, the believer's joy. If you're a believer, you got to have joy.
Yes.
I'm gonna be honest with you, because being a preacher, we got to be honest, right?
Yeah.
Like Brother Light says, he said, I may not be the smartest preacher, but I'll be honest with you. And I'm going to be honest with you. Here the past couple weeks, I haven't had a whole lot of joy.
Amen.
You're gonna have to tell you, I haven't, and you know why? Because I let things get to me. I let things steal my joy.
World didn't give it to you, brother.
That's right.
The world can't take it away.
That's right. Amen. In Philippians chapter 1, and that whole chapter there, it talks about joy, gladness, and rejoicing were mentioned 19 times in that chapter. If I counted them right. But and this is Paul. He was from a prison cell in the city of Rome. One of the Lord's greatest servants shares with us how to experience joy in the Christian life. In this letter, Paul mentions joy, gladness, and rejoicing 19 times. That's in Philippians chapter 1, verses 1 through 30. These are the things that Jesus wants us to have. John 15, verse 11 says, "These things have I spoken unto you, that my joy might remain in you, and that your joy might be full." Yes. So if the joy of Christ is in us, then we should be full of joy.
Full of joy.
At all times.
Amen.
No matter what we go through, we should have we should have joy in our hearts.
Yes.
In Psalm chapter 5 and verse 11 it says, "But let all those that put their trust in thee rejoice." If we put our trust in God, all we can do is rejoice because we're trusting that God is going to do what we have asked Him to do.
Amen.
And what God has already done for us. You know, God has, Jesus has already done the ultimate sacrifice for each and every individual in this world. And if we put our trust in God, we should rejoice in Christ. Let them ever shout for joy. We can shout for joy tonight, right, church?
Yes.
We can shout for joy.
Hallelujah.
Because thou defendest them. Christ is going to defend His people. No matter what comes at us, Christ said He's going to defend us. Christ Christ goes before us to clear the path. Right or wrong?
Right.
That's right. He goes before us. And that I gotta regret that. Because thou defendest them, let them also that love thy name be joyful in thee. If we love Christ, we're going to be joyful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because the joy of the Lord is what?
It's our strength.
The joy of the Lord is our strength.
Yes.
Amen. There are 4 things that can rob us of our joy. There's a lot of things that can rob us of our joy, but there's 4 things that are mentioned here, which is circumstances. I'm not going to lie to you. I had some trouble with that this past couple weeks. I let circumstances get in my way. People can steal your joy.
Yes.
We can let people, how do I say it? We can let people determine our feelings.
Yes.
You know, we can let people determine how we feel. If somebody, I just put it this way: when we hang around, what we become.
Yes.
If we're hanging around people that aren't joyful, if we're hanging around people that are sticklers, what do we become? We become selfish sticklers. You know, we become what we hang around.
Yes.
And like Brother Lonnie mentioned this morning, you know, if we hang around other Christians, if we hang around those that are full of joy, if we hang around those that are full of Christ, that's what we're going to be.
Yeah.
That's the kind of influence that they're going to be on us, and we can be an influence on them. I said this at one time: let's go out and be an influencer instead of the influencee.
Yes.
Instead of being influenced by the world, let's go out and influence the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's show the joy. Let's show the world what the true joy is all about.
Yes.
The joy of living for Christ.
Yes.
Circumstances, people, things, it doesn't matter. Things can steal our joy from Christ. Worry's a big one. I did a lot of that this week too.
Amen.
When we look at things more than we look at Christ. When we take our eyes off Christ, just like Peter, when he took his eyes off Christ, Brother Line mentioned that this morning too. When he took his eyes off Christ, what happened? He started to sink. But you know what? And he called out for the help of Jesus. You know what Jesus, he reached down with his hand and he pulled Peter up. And Jesus was high stepping the way and said, "Come on, brother, let's get back to the boat." I heard a preacher preach a message on that, and he said, I forget he's talking about how big the waves were getting. He said that each time the waves come, he said Jesus used those as his stepping stone because he just rode the wave all the way back to the ship. He's high stepping the wave.
Glory to God.
Great troubles and persecutions are foreign to us. I have seen small things cause fall of many Christians. The smallest thing, if we let it get to us, we can lose all hope, all joy. We can even lose our walk with Christ.
Yeah.
Just the smallest thing. Because they were unable to give their troubles and trials to the Lord. I've seen this. I'm not going to lie to you about this neither. I've done it myself. I've come to the altar. And I pray. I ask God to forgive me, whatever. And I get up and I walk away. I leave it there. When church is over, I put Christ under the seat. And I go back. I pick up what I left there. When I should have left what I left there, I took Christ with me. When we walk in those doors, what does he say? Come and, when we walk in those doors, we should come in with praise on our lips. When we walk out those doors, we should have the same praise on our lips, showing the world the joy of the Lord.
Yeah.
Paul was a good example because he had a single mind. His mind was focused on Christ. When a Christian is single-minded, he is concerned about the fellowship of the gospel, the furtherance of the gospel, the faith of the gospel. In James chapter 1 and verse 8, it says, a double-minded man is unstable in all of his ways. Because he doesn't know what he wants to do. We have a choice, church.
We got one choice.
No.
We got one choice.
They have one choice.
That other choice is made for you if you don't make that choice.
That's right. We have one choice to make,
Amen, brother.
and we have to make the right choice.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have one decision to make. We either decide to live for Christ, or we're going to go the other direction.
Amen.
That's it.
Amen.
We go up,
We go down.
or we go down.
Amen.
We have to choose life. Paul had a submissive mind. Paul put Christ first, others second, and himself last.
Yes.
The key to joy is learning to care about others.
Yes.
Put God first, others second, and put yourself last.
Yes.
Because it's all about Christ first.
Yes.
Amen.
This is the way I put Christ first, my wife, my family, and everything else comes after that. Because you know what, God gave me I'm losing my words here. But anyway, one more point I want to make here. Paul had a spiritual mind. He points out that many people spend their lives minding earthly things, but they're spiritually minded means that you will be concerned about heavenly things. Notice being spiritual is okay. We need to get our minds focused on Christ, church. If you lost your joy in 2017, you still got a few hours to get it back. But if you want to wait until 2018, that's all right too. But if you lost your joy, you can get it back. All you have to do is turn to Christ.
Yes.
He will walk with you. He will carry you through your circumstances.
Amen.
Yeah.
Christ will take care of you. Go Lenny.
Good word.
Good word, brother.
Good word. Give the Lord another hand for Yeah, praise God. We'll fix that right quick. We got another speaker tonight. And then we're going to hear Brother Matt. Then we're going to take a break. And pizza stuff. I'm going to ask any of the ladies got a word they want to share tonight. When we come back up, we're going to let our ladies speak if they want to speak. Is that all right? Just Sarah, you got a word, don't you?
I do.
All right. We're going to give you an opportunity to speak tonight. Praise the Lord. I was thinking this service here kind of, and I've shared this before, but this was in 2007. It was so bad. Here we go. My wife and I walked over for a Sunday night service. It wasn't a watch night service. We walked up for a service, and Brother Ben Snodgrass came riding up here on a snowmobile. Oh, God. I just bought my truck that year, and the four-wheel drive was 90. And Pastor Shannon called me up and says, "Can you come pick me up, Dan?" I said, "You sure you don't want to cancel tonight?" He says, "No." He said, "Let's go ahead. Those that can make it, make it." So it was him and I, and my wife, and Ben, four of us. I'm not kidding. He preached about a 45-minute sermon. And I look back at time I took John, and I thought some more folks were walking in. I told my wife we got home, I said, "Man, only four of us, we got a 45-minute sermon." Brother Matt, we appreciate you. Come on up here. Get ready to share the word with us. Praise the Lord. You got a mic, you use it.
There you go.
Oh, make sure mine's on. Mine's on? Hey, yes. Wow.
And it's too loud.
All right, you turn it down. All right. Am I better? Better? All right, my mo better? You know, the message is going to start out first. Everybody that knows me knows I like football. You know, I'm a Michigan guy. I like Michigan football, and I was reading an article that an old Michigan player did. And it kind of gave me this message, because the same message that he was given is one that we should get in the church, one that we should take to ourselves. His name is Jake Butt. And he was a tight end in Michigan, and he was getting ready to play in the Michigan bowl game last year, and other players decided that they were going to forego the bowl game because the bowl game wasn't important, and they didn't want to hurt themselves before they got their NFL, before they went into the NFL, before they got drafted. So he's looking at all these other players that are saying, no, I don't want to play the bowl game. I don't want to play the bowl game. And he's thinking to himself about that situation too, because he's getting ready for the draft. But in his mind, he's thinking, he's like, I want to play with my teammates at Michigan one more time, and I want to play in the bowl game. And I have nothing against all these other players that are deciding that they don't want to. But I've made up my mind and I'm going to play. All right, so he's playing in this game, and this one play kind of breaks down, and he wasn't supposed to go out for a pass, but the quarterback threw it to him. He caught it, and he ran down the field, and a guy tackled him. And he said, as soon as I got tackled, I heard a big pop. He said he blew his knee out. And he says in this article, he says, I knew what it was because I had blown that same knee out before, that it was an ACL, I blew out my ACL, and he knew how long a rehab would take, and he knew that
he had to put his NFL career on hold for a little while. And so anyways, he, instead of getting drafted, he was supposed to get drafted like in the second round. He got drafted like in the 5th or 6th round. But Denver did pick him up. And Denver said, we're going to put you on IR. And he was talking himself about that situation. And he goes, you know, if it happened again, I would do it again. He said, if the same situation happened, that, you know, I had to make a decision of whether to play or not to play. He said, I'm gonna make sure that I was gonna play. Because he's telling me, and in this article he's telling you, he goes, reasons is because these other players had a fear that they were gonna get hurt before their NFL career. And he said, fear was not gonna generate me from what I wanted to do. And I said, the same thing that happened in the church for us is because fear is not going to stop us from what God has for us to do. Each of us has a purpose. Each of us has a path. And there's people in your path that only you can get to, only you can minister to. But we don't. It's because fear gets in our way. We don't is because rejection gets in our way. Oh, they might think bad of me. I don't care what people think bad of me. I want to save your life. I want to save you. I want to save you from yourself. That's the reason that fear has to not stop us from doing what God has intended us to do. Sister Nancy has this one verse that she loves. And it's 2 Timothy 1, verse 7. Can you put that up, sister? So, for God has not given us a spirit of fear. That means that spirit of fear that you sorry about this. The spirit of fear, Kate, walk next to them. But God has not given us that spirit of fear. That fear comes from someplace else. That fear comes from the enemy. God did not give us that spirit of fear, but of power. God gave you the power. Jonathan, God gave you the power. Brother Lester, Jonathan, God gave us the power and of love. Everything God does is in love. Even if He chastises us, like Brother Lonnie was talking about today, even if He chastises, it's all done in love. That rod and that staff, they comfort me. Sometimes He has to use that rod on us. Sometimes He has to draw us back from where we were at. He always going to chastise the people that He loves. It said, and of a sound mind. When I've been testifying to people lately, I've been saying, when Jesus cast out all those demons out of, I can't remember what the guy's name was, Legion. The guys cast out all these demons out of this guy named Legion. And when the townspeople came to get him, they said they found him at Jesus' feet, clothed in the right mind, in a sound mind. Only God can give us a sound mind. We can't do it. When he was talking, he said we can't lean onto our own understanding because our own understanding is so limited. Yeah. That's why we have to lean on God, because where our weaknesses are, that's where His strengths are. Yeah. So in the area that I'm weak, and yes, my wife, sometimes I get frustrated at home. Sometimes I, and it's like, and then in the area where I'm weak, I said, Lord, I need to be fixed there. I need to have your help there. I need to have you help me in this area because I'm weak. Sometimes the flesh is weak. That's why number 8. One number 8. Sorry. says, be not ashamed of the testimony. You can't be ashamed of your testimony. Your testimony is going to save somebody's life. Your testimony is going to tell them how good God's been in your life. And the only person that can tell your testimony is you. You're the only one that can tell your testimony to somebody. And it said, and be not ashamed of him. You can't. If an opportunity comes, sometimes we get embarrassed. We go, I don't think this is the right time. I don't think it's the right. How do you know? It's because it's not supposed to be us. It's supposed to be him. He's giving you this opportunity to speak to somebody. And we can't have that fear of rejection. Oh, they might get mad at me or something. They might, you know what? Or whatever. Because I'm just saying this, that at least we brought it forth to them. We planted that seed. It's up to God. Like I said, if we planted it, he's going to water it. I'm just saying, it says, nor me his prisoner. And it said, he's saying a prisoner is because a prisoner is a person that doesn't want to do anything or can't do anything else. And he said he's so into the God that he doesn't want to do anything else. He doesn't want to be, I don't want to be what the world wants me to be. I want to be so in tune with God that I want his will and my will to be the same will.
Yeah.
And to be partakers of the affections of the gospel according to the power of God. That's what I'm saying. That's what our job is. Our job is we're supposed to spread the gospel. We're supposed to tell people about Jesus. That's way to tell people about Jesus is to tell them about church. So you should come listen to we got this young pastor, man. He's so on fire, man. You should come check him out, man. So we got these young ministers, man. They got that hunger. They got that thirst. I don't want to hunger. Look at me. I'm already hungry and thirst for food. I want to hunger and thirst after righteousness, man. I want that. Look at me. I'm a big guy. I eat. Hey, I don't know where the refrigerator is at. But what I'm seeing is that sometimes when we have a dinner downstairs, it's not that I don't want to eat downstairs. It's just that I want to stay up here and I want to bask in his glory. I want to stay up here and feel his presence. I want to stay up here because it's. Nine. Amen. Save us. Who has saved us? That alone, that first line, who has saved us? That line alone should take fear away from us to say, he saved me. I couldn't save myself. He saved me. I was dying, and he saved me. I was dead in sin, and he saved me. That's when I first saw that, I said, he has saved me. I can honestly tell you, I cried for about 5 minutes because he saved me. And he called us with a holy calling. Brother Lester, you got a purpose. Brother Lonnie, you got a purpose. Brother Keith, Sister Diane, you got purpose. You got a purpose. God gave us a purpose. And I can't let that fear get in the way of my purpose.
Yeah.
I can't let fear I can't let fear guide me. Because fear didn't come from him. He didn't give us that spirit of fear. The enemy did. It says, not according to our works. That means I couldn't do it by myself. I couldn't save myself. Only person that can really save you is Jesus Christ. He's the only one. but according to his own purpose and grace. That's my wife. Every morning I wake up, I said, thank you, Lord, for this day. Thank you, Lord, for your love and your grace. Because his grace is the only reason I'm standing here talking to you.
Yeah.
His grace is the only reason. I was in accidents nobody should have walked away in. I did drugs and alcohol and everything. And I looked up in places I didn't even know where I was at. And the only reason I'm standing here is because of God's love and God's grace. That's the only reason I'm standing here. So, which was given to us in Jesus before the world began. He gave me grace. When the world began, he knew what I was going to do. He knew I was going to be stupid in this section. But he knew that he was going to finally open up my eyes in this section. And he knows where I'm going to go. We know where we're going to go. And we can't let fear get involved in anything that we're trying to do. Because fear didn't come from him. Every day, I wake up and I just say, Lord, thank you for this day. Lord, thank you. So, Lord, what can I do for you today? There's days I fall short. But you know what? His grace and his mercy is sufficient. He's going to give me another day. And I'm going to do better on that day. I say every day, I say, Lord, what would you have me do? Is because if I leave my own understanding, if I think about what Matt needs this day, that's not enough. Because that means fear has got to me. That means I'm not thinking about what he would have me do. I'm thinking about what I need to do. And what I need to do was never enough. Was never enough. Bro, that's all I got. Thank you, Lord.
Praise the Lord.
Thank you, Lord.
His grace is sufficient.
Amen.
And his mercy, I'm glad for his mercy and grace.
Amen.
Praise God. We're gonna break for time of fellowship. Everything ready, sisters? Everything's ready. Go ahead and keep. And so don't be bashful down there. Let's stand and Brother Lester, would you bless this closing time of fellowship?
Okay, so I want to read from the book of Luke, chapter 10, verses 38 through 42, and it's the story about how Jesus visits Mary and Martha. It says, now it came to pass as they went, and he entered into a certain village, and a certain woman named Martha received him into her house. And she had a sister called Mary, which also sat at Jesus' feet and heard his word. But Martha was cumbered about much serving and came to him, and said, Lord, doest thou not care that my sister has left me alone to serve alone? Bid her therefore that she help me. And Jesus answered and said unto her, Martha, Martha, thou art fearful and troubled about many things. But one thing is needful, and Mary hath chosen that good part which shall not be taken away from her. Okay, so God has really been dealing with me a lot, and it's about I have become very slackful in my reading and even in my prayer time. And this morning when I was teaching the kids, Martha and Mary was in the lesson was about them. In fact, the lesson was really actually about doubtful Thomas. And but anyhow, it reminded me of how God's been dealing with me over how busy I've allowed myself to become. And I have wrapped myself up into several things, like I obviously am gone a lot to exercise classes, and I always feel it's very important to take care of our body that God gave us. But I have neglected to be in the Word as I should, and so God reminded me today, this morning, as a matter of fact, I had no idea I would be doing this tonight. In fact, before Brother Lonnie had said that about the women, I thought, I sure wish I had something I could share. And so I began to think about things, and he said that, and then I thought, okay, that's God telling me there's something that you should probably share. So anyhow, this word has, like I said, God's been dealing with me on this for a long time now, and I'm hoping that, and I'm planning, I'm going to be more of a Mary this year than I've been a Martha. I don't want to be so busy about everything else in this world that I have neglected to see or hear what God is speaking to my heart. So that's what I had.
Praise God. You know what? Let's be honest tonight. How many can say I've been guilty? We're going to make a resolution that we will pray more this year. We will read more this year. We're going to do more.
Yeah.
Praise the Lord. That's my resolution. Come on, Sister Kate. Praise the Lord. And
I don't know how long it might be, but it's not going to be very much longer. But it's dealing with the same thing, so I know.
oh, see, God's trying to
I
tell
know
us.
it's confirmation because this is what I've been dealing with.
Praise God.
I do have a couple verses that Galatians 6:9. Let us not be weary in well doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. That's all, Kendra. Ye brethren, be not weary in well doing. For consider him that endured such contradiction of sinners against himself, lest ye be wearied and faint in your mind. My thing has been, like, we as women, we let ourselves get way too busy. We lose track of time trying to do everything for everybody. But we're raised, especially my generation, was raised that you were going to be a homemaker. That's what you were raised to be. So you were going to take care of kids, you were going to take care of your family, take care of your house, take care of the finances. I mean, everything was put on you. Your husband worked and brought home the paycheck. That was the way it was. Well, I've noticed that, especially the last part of this year, I've gotten so wrapped up in stuff that I've let my time with God slip. My prayer time has slipped. My Bible study time has slipped. You're always trying to get everything else done, and you figure, well, at the end of the day, I'll have a little bit of time left. I'll give that time to God. Well, then you're so tired you go to bed and you haven't talked to God, you haven't read the Word, you haven't listened to the Word. So my thing is now, this is what I'm going to start doing this next year. First thing in the morning when I get out of bed, if I have to make myself get up a half an hour earlier, that half an hour is for God, for prayer time. And I mean, last night it kept me up a long time. So that's why I know that I'm supposed to say something tonight, because I just couldn't get it. I went over the list of things that I make myself busy doing. And your relationship just gets farther and farther away from God. And then you wonder, well, God, why is this prayer not getting answered? Well, you know what? You haven't prayed for it. In your mind you have, you think you have, but you really haven't sat down and talked to Father God and told him what you need. So, I had a friend tell me that one time we were talking, and it's like, well, how can you believe that God can help you out when you go through the same things that I go through? And it's like, yeah, but God doesn't leave me, I leave God. He's there. All I have to do is reach out and talk to him. And
I sometimes just don't. You just get busy and you try to do things on your own, and never works out, and you get farther and farther behind. So, I'm gonna make my first time in the morning, my wake up time, is gonna be time with Father God. Cup of coffee, well, not on the Daniel fast, but first thing, it's gonna be a half an hour with God every morning to start my day. I'm gonna listen to the Word, I'm gonna read the Word, and I'm gonna study and get back to studying like I used to. And my husband used to tell me one time, he said, what are you gonna do, rewrite the whole Bible? Because my way of studying is the verses, I write them down. If I write them down in a journal, then they mean something to me, they get into my heart. And so, yeah, if I gotta rewrite the whole Bible this year, I'm gonna rewrite the whole Bible this year. Just copy it. That's what I am.
That's what this is. I'm enjoying this. Praise the Lord. Come on, Sister Sarah. Get ready to share.
What?
Bless you, brother.
Oh, thank you.
Get it?
But too often times, I've been guilty of that. Like you said, you get busy doing things. It don't have to be bad things. You can get busy with life. And get like Martha was, right? And get crumbled with the cares of life. And so let's put the Lord first this year. Praise the Lord. Sisters, Sarah, Bradley,
I'm coming. Oh, that's really loud. It's weird being in front of the speakers because normally I'm not. So I feel really loud, guys.
Turn it down.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot I could do that. Oh no, if I squat on me, there it goes. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay, there's like 2, 4, 6, 7 people in the speakers on the top, so I don't have to speak through a lot of people. Probably don't even need this really, but so a few weeks ago, I came across this video on Facebook, and Lord, ladies, I am with you with the whole. You get so busy, and I have actually dropped things that I used to be busy with, and I still am super busy. So, and I don't know if it was here, or I heard it somewhere else. Someone said, just like in your tithing, when you give your first 10%, you should give your first 10% of your day, because you think you're gonna have time at the end of the night, but if you're like me, you're so tired by the end of that night. Even I was like, oh, I have an hour before the kids and Kenny get home in the afternoon when I get home. I get home about 3:30. I had about a half an hour, 45 minutes. I'll do it then. Does not happen by the time you let the dog out, you do this and you do that. And now the kids are home, and now it's not quiet in the house anymore. And so then like, oh, I'll wait until, I'll go to bed earlier and do it. And then you're so exhausted, you can't give the time that he deserves because you're so tired. You're just trying, this ain't even my message, but you're just trying to get through it as a task as opposed to putting the time in to get something out of it and to give him your best time, because you're giving him what you got left. And our Father deserves way more than what we have left at the end of the day. So I'm with you, Mom. I don't care. We might have to call each other in the morning. You up, you reading?
Yeah.
Keep each other accountable. Just like those accountability partners when you're losing weight and you're exercising. Sometimes you need them when it comes to just studying the Word. So anyway, that has nothing to do with my message, but so I love this video, and I'm going to have Kendra play it first, and then I'll talk about it.
Well, tonight I'm going to be preaching about receiving the blessings. So how many of you guys know what an umbrella does? It blocks the rain from touching you. How many of you guys know what a funnel does? It receives the rain. And the rain is the blessings. And how many people in here want some blessings? You can count my foot in too. Like in 1 Kings 18:41, it says, I hear the abundance of rain. I hear the abundance of rain. I hear the abundance of rain. The rain won't stop until you receive it. The rain won't stop until you receive it. Now, the other day I was at the pool. And I was praying for my friend, my next door neighbor. And I had my funnel open, so I was receiving a lot of water. And so when I prayed for him, he started speaking in tongues. I want to speak. And he just went, how do I stop this? I'm like, you can't. That's when you start laying your hands on other people and saving them and bringing them to the kingdom of God.
We're gonna stop it.
And when you feel the presence of God, time goes by so fast. You're like, oh, no, a little longer, please. No, please. But if you're like
Come on.
not enjoying this, you'll be like, another hour. Oh my God. Come on. In John 3:30, it says you need to. Sorry, I'm drunk right here. You need to increase so Jesus can decrease. Well, sorry, other way around. You need to decrease so he can increase. Come on. And I know a lot of you guys want to be a funnel in here. And here's the thing. If you don't have your funnel open, then you can't speak in tongues. And if you can't speak in tongues, how are you going to pray for people? Because the other day, me and my mom and my sister prayed 30 minutes in tongues in bed for a miracle. And it came the next day. Now here's the thing. A lot of you guys need to speak in tongues. Most of you might know it. But guess what? You can still receive more. Now, I just want everybody to stand up where they are. Now, hold your hand up with the funnel. We're going to pray. Lord, I thank you that you'll just rain on them, overflow so it'll be a waterfall of your word, Jesus. And I thank you, Lord, that you'll just give them their word, that they need to praise you. Jesus, I thank you, they'll go tell people about you, and they'll perceive you, Lord, as their Savior. Oh my God, woo, Jesus. I thank you that just pour on them, and they'll just receive it in Jesus' name. Hallelujah.
In tongues. Pray in tongues. Pray on the tongues.
Lord, I thank you that they'll just receive tongues if they haven't received it. And I thank you they'll just start praying in tongues right now. Release it in Jesus' name. Just start speaking it. Come on. The thing is, the devil can't understand you, so he can't interfere with you. So God's like, excuse me, I don't know what you're doing to that child, but bye-bye. But bye-bye. All the way over there. Bye-bye. So I want you to just keep on speaking in tongues. Don't Shikia Baba. Bara Shikia Baba.
Okay.
I don't know you guys be blessed in here.
Kendra, you can stop that. Thank you. Okay, so, you know, because as kids, I don't know if that, I feel like I'm getting. Okay. So, oh no, that was wrong. Wow. All right, well, I'm like all the way down. Okay. So, I don't know if it's because it's kids and I don't know, I've been teaching kids here now for like 40 years or something and going to camp, like if you can ever go to camp, it is, you get such a blessing from these kids and like, I didn't get to go to camp this year because of work. With the new building that they built in the elementary school, we had to move up summer school, just hit the button, just push the button, which was on every time. So, I missed camp. And Kendra was like, oh, there were some like girls that were mad because I didn't get to come to camp because I've been their counselor now for like, because they're in Kendra daycare. So for 4 years I've been their counselor going to camp with them every year. And then we got down to the feast and one of the girls, it's Larry's granddaughter, she goes, I'm mad at you. And I'm like, why? She goes, because you didn't come to camp. But having these kids and when you're at camp, and a lot of it is we don't make all of them. We do make the ones that are a little lenient about going up. But I mean, we have a bigger section than this. They're in the tabernacle. So the stage is probably about the same size, but it's in a big room where they also have like a basketball court on one end. And so there's room all like this plus this amount on each side. And those kids fill it during worship. And some of the younger kids, we do have to be like, okay, we're going up to worship. But we're trying to teach them, like, you need to be paying attention to worship because they'll sit down and they'll start talking and playing around. But once they start, they have, the whole stage has stairs up it, about 4 or 5 stairs. And the stairs start to fill. There have been times where the preacher of the night has really gotten to preach about 15 minutes because worship has lasted so long because these kids start praying for each other and they start just getting swept up by the Holy Ghost and it's really amazing. And I asked my kids, because I get kind of frustrated with my kids and our FGA kids, because when we come back, they don't have that anymore. They do it at camp, and you can see it's not that they're just doing it because everybody else is doing it. Like you can see in the kids that they're getting in touch. My niece, I watched her 2 years ago just lay in the floor praying for I don't even know how long. And so I'm like, why don't you do that when we get back? They're like, oh, it's weird because it's, there's, I don't know how many kids do we have at camp? 200 to 300 maybe?
A lot.
And that's all there. And then when they come back, we have, our handful of kids that come in. And I'm like, but start doing it because then maybe we can get some more of the adults to come forward. And I think I see a lot in the back, but now up here too. When she was talking about being a funnel, I know before I was in the booth and I really can't get up there and start singing too much because we got cameras going on and you don't want to take over the whole worship, just my voice singing back there. But, you get into it and we got lots of people that get into it, but then you have people that aren't receiving what they could be getting from the worship and they're not getting themselves ready for the word. And how she was talking about how like time just goes by when you're, praying and you're in the word and you're like, that's how, worship should be. And the people that are checking watches and, we've talked about the churches that it's like you're in and out in an hour. I'm so glad we don't go to a church like that. And I know Pastor tries to keep his message down. He tries to keep us in. He doesn't keep us on that hour time schedule, but he does try to. But If you can't sit here and listen to whatever the word is, you don't know what you're missing, and he might have you cut off because you're getting bored. If you're getting bored, it's because you're not getting into it yourself. And I know, like, we're preaching to the choir, we're off on New Year's Eve, but hopefully somebody in Facebook land's watching. But you gotta let yourself get into it and understand, and just let the word come over you, because you want to get that, you want to receive that word, because it could be for you. It could be for you in 3 months. You might not need it now, but you might need it then. You might need somebody that you might meet on the street might need that word that you received, and that's why you received it, because you were supposed to pass it on to somebody else and you didn't know it. So every word that gets preached in this church is for you in some way. You just have to realize what it is, and you've got to be that funnel and receive it. Don't cover yourself up with that umbrella so that it's just bouncing off. You got to receive that word, because you don't know when your life you're going to need it, or when somebody might come into your life and need that word, that you'd be like, oh yeah, Pastor just preached about that 2 weeks ago. I'm glad I paid attention, because you just, like I said, you don't know when that word is going to come up in your life. And I see those kids, and, I wonder why sometimes, you see videos on Facebook all the time of these younger kids that are getting slain out in the spirit and speaking in tongues, and it's like, why aren't our kids? And so I don't know if that's something we need to do more here, or if it's something that they're not quite understanding, but if those kids can be up there getting slain in the spirit, and the video, I stopped it before, the one little girl in the background, have you seen, she had a red dress on, she was like crying and like just overcome, and I know that feeling, because I've had it. But it's, and I, like I said, I see them, I haven't ever seen any of them like speaking in tongues at camp, but there are kids that do, and there are kids, those kids are like, the older the teens more come closer, and our kids we're starting to get more kids in that age group now. But when we went down there for a feast, there were kids from Georgia and kids from Ohio, London. They talk all the time now. But they only met because of church camp. And the ladies from London were telling me they're always talking to each other, and you couldn't tell unless you knew the kids, which kids were from London and which kids were from Jordan, unless you listened to them talk. But when they were sitting in service, because they all just had a big group, and it's because they've all got those friendships, and they do pray for each other. And I don't know, I guess part of it was, we need to make sure we're being our funnel, and we're receiving our blessings from the Lord and worshiping Him when it's time, and trying to, encourage others to get into the worship more, because you see, and I know some people can't stand for long periods of time. We do have some long worship sometimes. I missed the day I was teaching, the day that worship went on for the entire church service, because I was like, man, they're still singing. They should. Actually, hasn't even preached yet. I'm done with my lesson 10 minutes ago. And we never did preach that day, but even without that, I know we've had some pretty long, we've worshiped from 11 to noon sometimes, and then still had the word. So I know people can't always stand that far, but just because you can't stand, you can put your hands up, even if it's like this. There's that video, I share it with Diana every time it comes across Facebook. It's this guy, and he's talking about the different ways that you worship in the church, different hand raisins. And there's like big screen, or the fish was this big, and then big screen TV, and a little bit wider, and washing the windows, and it's funny because we do all of those. But I just think that people think that worship is it's the beginning of church. It's to give people time to get here that are late, so they don't miss the word. Like it's time filler between, church starts at 11, but if I get here by 11:30, I miss worship, but I don't miss the word. But worship is supposed to be getting us ready to get the word. We got to be ready to receive the word and be ready to worship. And I don't remember who it was that I heard talk about it, and I talked with my kids about it. And I think the last time I taught class was, you should be coming into church ready to worship. And sometimes, I'm not even gonna lie, my family, when we're walking out the door, I'm yelling at them, get out of the car, we're leaving now. And my mind is not where it needs to be when I'm coming into the church. Luckily, I have Sunday school to get myself a little bit ready for that, and I know I'm not the only one, especially now when it's nasty out and we gotta leave even earlier, and you're like, we get out of the door at 7:30 for school every morning, but we can't get out by 9:45 for church. What's going on? And so it's about, so we need to, I myself need to make sure I'm coming in ready to worship, not getting myself ready to worship right before. But that worship is so important, and it's so, you don't know what you're gonna, I mean, how many times have we seen people get touched by the Holy Ghost during just worship? I mean, we've had worship services where people start dancing, and they're jumping, and they're screaming. I mean, we ain't had one of them in a long time. I know we need to do something about that too, but it's just, we gotta get that worship in so that we can get ready to receive that word, and I feel like that was all over the place.
Amen. So I feel we're gonna have to work on this year. And praise the Lord. That was a Rodney Howard Brown service with it. And what's that, brother?
It's going to show on a weekly called The Great Awakening.
The Great Awakening.
He's the one that has to sign out his church that they're armed and they will protect their parishioners.
Okay.
They're armed down in Florida.
Florida. He's from South Africa.
Okay. You got 3 minutes.
You got 2 minutes?
3.
3 minutes. All right. Well, let's all come up front. We're going to pray the new year, and we got 3 minutes, and we're going to join hands. And
Do you want worship music?
bring down, have the children come down too.
You want music?
Yeah, you can put some worship on. Yes. And first, I'll thank all you for coming.